25,000 subscribers. That's a crazy number I never would have thought about reaching when I made my channel almost 3 years ago. It's awesome to be a part of a community where you actually have an impact, and it's all due to you. I have worked very hard in the last couple years to reach this point, but all of my thanks go out to you guys who motivate me every day. So thank you. It's Punchy, and to celebrate this event, I thought it would be best to make a Deepwoken build inspired off my favorite character from One Piece, Trafalgar Law. Law is a supporting character in the series which we see a lot, who has the ability to create a domain that he can control everything inside. He's got a very unique devil fruit and drip, which got me to like him. If you're an old fan of the channel, my shinobi that appears in my profile pic had on Law's outfit from the latest One Piece arc. It's safe to say I really like this character's design. But how would this work in Deepwoken? Law is known for wearing a ridiculous and iconic hat that we obviously don't have access to in Deepwoken. To replicate this, I did my best to combine hair to create a hat, which of course was difficult to do. I was restricted to either Etrian, Khan, or Ganymede for white hair, but Etrian fits best. Law has a ton of outfits, but I chose one that was inspired from the Punk Hazard arc. His coat is black with some yellow patterns, so I throw on a Justicar coat which is dark looking with some of these yellow add-ons. It can't be perfect, but hopefully you get the idea. What makes this concept for a Law build exciting is that you can mess with the stats in so many different ways to create a lot of abilities that he has. It's not so straightforward, so let me know down in the comments below how you would make a Law build. This character is fully maxed out with 25 strength, 35 fortitude, 25 agility, 40 intelligence, 40 willpower, 35 charisma, 25 thundercall, and 100 medium weapon. My build is pretty well rounded in order to get the mantras I needed, so let's talk about the abilities. For starters, Law has access to a devil fruit called the Opi Opi no Mi. He can place down a giant bubble where he can freely manipulate anything inside. Of course, there's nothing really like this in Deepwoken, so we can assume that whenever this character is fighting, it's inside of this massive operating room. The first ability I chose was Tact. Law can freely move and throw around boats, people, giant rocks, and anything without stress that's in his room. To recreate this move, I called this move Smacked instead of Tact because I was throwing around people with my hands. Strong left is great for sending people away and ragdolling players that get too close. Another thing Law can do within his room is Amputate. He can cut anything apart, which he usually throws around inside his bubble. I picked up Master's Flourish with a giant hitbox to catch people out of range and do a ton of damage. I put a Wayward Gem on this to combo up after the initial hit. The next move is one of Law's iconic moves, Injection Shot. He'll wind up and pierce through most things to deal massive damage, and it's one of my favorite moves that he uses. For obvious reasons, we got his Exhaustion Strike with a huge hitbox, and it's very good for starting combos, continuing combos, and removing posture with this move. In the show, the first part of Injection Shot is Scan. Law will find the enemy's weakness with his move to target with this attack. I ended up using Gaze with a super long timer and Insignia Gem because every time Gaze activates, the gem will reduce the windup on your next move, which is honestly great for all mantras. One bonus move that I thought was funny was Mugiwara. This means Straw Hat, and it represents how Law gets mad at Luffy and his crew. I use Rapid Punches because it always looks like Law wanting to beat Luffy's ass whenever he messes up. A signature move from Law is Gamma Knife. He'll create a high voltage attack to deal massive damage and stun whoever is hit. I ended up using Lightning Blade with a Magnet Spark in order to catch unaware targets, and it doesn't do crazy damage, but it's very easy to pull out and hit somebody that isn't expecting it. The final move for Law is his most important one, Shambles. This is what Law spams in his bubble so he can switch places between things. It's basically teleporting, and you'll see him use it whenever he can. There's a couple ways you could do this in Deepwoken like Spark Swap, but I said nah. I picked up Glare modded with a giant hitbox and a Wayward Gem in order to get close. It leads into most attacks, and it's basically a free crit. For Law's belt, I really wanted to get Sacred Field. Having bonus damage reduction in a room would be awesome, but that's not what happened. I ended up getting the instant damage counter belt that punishes those that hit you. I think it still fits with Law's theme though, because people who try to attack him usually get stopped if he has control of their hearts. He has their life in his hands, so I think that's enough to counter them. And those are Trafalgar Law's signature attacks. He has so much more and is quite abstract, but feel free to comment down below how your builds would work if you want to use different mantras and bells. On this build, I was pretty lucky to get some legendary and rare talents that helped me out a lot. One talent that carried this build was Risky Moves. I'm good at roll canceling, but this talent is too good to burn. Most of the time I get a free escape and attack while using a critical, and it's honestly just super nice. A legendary that works well for Law's character would have to be Dazing Finisher. Opponents will move anywhere from a flourish if they're charmed. This makes sense because Law has full control over anything in his room's range, so if he doesn't want you to move, I mean you won't move. If you want to make this build yourself, check out a full list of my talents, and I don't think this character needs that many legendaries. For my weapon, I'm using a Shattered Katana in order to recreate his cursed sword. I know I wasn't going to use it, but if it's for a Law build, I'll make an exception. I don't often use this weapon because I think its range and damage is quite stupid, but I did enjoy the critical attack which moves you forward. I like how it has multiple uses. And that's all. I'm very happy with how this build turned out. Now, check out some fights with the Surgeon of Death. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. This was one of my favorite builds to make, and I would appreciate the support. So, thank you guys, and have a good one.